Hello, you're welcome to today's new exciting video tutorial. And in today's tutorial we are going to be creating an image slider with just CSS, that is without JavaScript. As you can see on the screen, the background is changing. It was not built with JavaScript, but we just use CSS alone. So stay tuned and let's get into business. So welcome back. Here is my folder. I have created my HTML file and my CSS file, and here is the folder that contains my images. That is the images we are going to be using in this tutorial. So let's get started. Let me create my HTML layout. So first, let me link my CSS. Now, so let me create a nav. Let me open a browser. As time goes on, we're going to be previewing this browser in Chrome, not here. So we're going to have home, about, services, contacts, then let's just put partnership. Also, let's have another div here. Have a span which says the ultimate gym. Then we also have a button saying get started. So let's go to our CSS, our body, as usual, margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box, then overflow hidden. So let's have our nav. We have the display to be flex. We move to our nav UL. We have the display to be flex and the width 100%. Then move to our nav li, which are going to have the display to be inline block. Then now let's move this to the center. Justify content center, align item center, and let's give this a margin right of, let's just say, 10 view width. So let's come to our div. We're going to say width 100%. Let's give this a background image. That's the starting background image. Let's say dot slash image. Let's give background 5, or let's use 4. Okay, let's use this. Then let's say background. Let's set up our background image. Now I'm going to say background position, center, background repeat, no repeat, height 100 VH. Also, let's add background size, cover. So in our nav, let's put a color of white and a background of black. So down to our ultimate gym, let's just give it, we can call it div since that's the only div we have, but let's just use ultimate. Then we change this to ultimate. I'm just doing the quick setup. Ultimate. So display flex, justify content center, align item center. Then let's give it height of 100 VH. Okay, let's give it a color white. Then let's give it a font size. Let's say font size 22 pixel. Let's increase it 32. Let's just add a break here, or nevertheless, instead let's have flex direction column. So let's remove this from here and put it here. Dot ultimate. Let's call the span and give it the font size of 32 pixel. Dot ultimate pan 45. So now let's give it a background of RGB 0 0 0 comma 0 point. Let's say this is the opacity 0.7. So let's leave here now and check it in our browser. So let me close this. So as you can see now, we have our nav and we have the ultimate gist. It's just like a brief intro. You can always build your own setup, design and layout. This is just for the tutorial. Now, to be able to change the background, we are going to be using animation and we are going to be using keyframes. So the first thing you need to do is to go to the web element. For me now, it is the body. Yours can be a div or anything you are changing the background, but mine is the body. So I'm going to give it animation name. Let's call it change. Now also when I give it animation name, I can now use at keyframes. So I'm going to say at keyframes. Now this identifier, you see CSS already brings it automatically. I just enter. Now this identifier is going to be the animation name you gave to that web element. As for me, it is change. So I'm going to call change. Now what happens now? The next thing is to begin to define our points in this keyframe. When you are using keyframe, you define your points using percentage. You can start with 0%, and choose another point 20%, anyhow you want. But let me start with 0%. That's just the beginning. So at the beginning, we want the background image to be URL. Let's say this bg1. Now I'll move to 20%. As for me, you can even make your own 30%, whatever you wish. I'm going to explain thoroughly. Just follow through. So we're going to say URL dot slash image bg2, so 40%, background image URL dot slash bg3 60%. I'm going to say background image URL dot slash bg4 80%. We're going to say background image URL bg5. Then 90%, we're going to say background image URL now bg6. Now we get to the browser, it's not working. Why? Because we need to specify the animation duration under the web element we are working on. That is the body. Now this point, now let's say I give it animation duration, which is very essential for the animation to take place. Let me give it 50 seconds. We have a total duration of 50 seconds. So now to check for this point, we are going to say 0% or 50 seconds, 20% or 50 seconds. To know exactly the timing of this point, you just take that point over 100 multiplied by the total duration. You just take that point over 100 multiplied by the total animation duration. Now this 20%, now it is going to be 20 divided by 100, which is 0.2. Then we're going to multiply it by the total animation duration, that is 50 seconds, multiplied by 50, that gave us 10. Now that does not mean that at 10 seconds the background image in this 20% will occur. It just means that at 10 seconds is going to transition to the next background image. That means this background image of 40% is going to start at 10 seconds. Now if you check for this 40%, it's going to be 40 divided by 100 multiplied by 50, and that is 20 seconds. So it means at 20 seconds it will transition to the next image, background image, that is 60%. That means at this background image, this BG4 is going to start at 20 seconds. So you can check this using a stopwatch. Now this 0% now, what it actually means does not mean that this will be the background image immediately we get there. It just means that immediately we get there, the background it will transition to this 20%. So let us check it out. You see, immediately it transition. That is the starting. It transitioned to the next background image. Now that means it is automatically starting with this. It's not going to stay long. It's going to transition. Immediately we're entering, is transitioning. As we're entering, is transition. That means the next background image is going to be the starting image. This is how to create an image slider with just CSS. You can see it's changing. Now you can confirm this using a stopwatch to verify what I'm saying. So please, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe and also click the notification bell. I'll be posting more exciting video tutorial, and when you just look up, you can see some of my other video. You can click on it and watch. Thank you. God bless you.